Welcome to the Smark Foundation podcast. I'm Aaron. That's Adam.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
And we are here with your weekly WWE and AEW reviews, as well as our Call It in the Ring segment at the end. I'd like to remind you all that you can find us on Linktree at Smark Foundation Podcast and pretty much everywhere else at Smark Foundation Podcast. We are on all podcasting platforms except for Apple, but we are still, as always, Safari friendly and background listening friendly there on Safari. Other than that, it's been a great week of wrestling. Adam, what do you think about
Yeah,
that?
I'd just like to add to that make sure to find us on Twitter. We would love to engage with our listeners a little bit more. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the content. We'd like to hear your thoughts on maybe giving us some ideas for what you would like to hear from us in our Calling It in the Ring segment. I'm always open to ideas. Aaron's always open to ideas. We want to give you what you're looking for, what you are missing. The whole point of this podcast is to give the internet wrestling sphere what it's missing, a desperately needed dose of positivity. But there are also things that we don't even know is missing, most likely. So what do you want to hear from us? We would love to hear that from you. Please engage with us. We're terminally online.
We are
that generation that is terminally online, and mostly just for wrestling stuff anyway. So check out our Linktree. Both of our Twitter accounts are on there. The official Twitter account for this podcast is also on there, so you can talk to us both. You can talk to us individually. Our DMs are open if you'd rather do it that way than in public. Please engage with us. It was great last week getting my friends to give me all those 82 names for it was incredible getting help and getting input from outside this not even a circle. It's two people. It's a straight line. That's all it is. So we would love to hear your feedback, positive, negative, anything. We do not cry easily when it comes to criticism, as long as it's good faith and it's not just mean for the sake of it. Constructive criticism. We're starting out. We're steadily improving things. Eventually, we'll be getting better equipment. We're going to be adding some music soon. It will be great. My brother Garrett is on top of that. He's a wonderful musician who I've co-opted into our little scheme here. You'll be able to hear his music probably next week, I would think, depending on how much time he has. We're doing some stuff on YouTube, playing with some graphics and stuff like that. Little bit by little bit, we're getting to the level that we know that you want and we know that you expect from those prime time podcasts. Stay with us. Help us get there.
Speaking of our social medias, I want to thank all the fellow wrestling podcasts who have followed us this week. We are actually, I think, the vast majority of our current social media followers, especially for our Twitter, are other podcasts. So if you're from another wrestling podcast,
I think I know where that comes from too. My Twitter account. Follow, if you guys are in the market for listening for other podcasts as well, follow Good Pods on Twitter. They have tons of great podcasts for literally any category you could think of. A lot of them are smaller startups like we are. Absolutely go, and if you're in the market for that, if you have the time, please support them as well. Follow Good Pods. I think that's where those follows are coming from. I want to thank Good Pods for that opportunity. And if you are first-time listeners from that avenue, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
And speaking of our listeners, I want to give a major shout out. Since we don't have a Patreon or anything yet where anybody's paying to subscribe and we have like the list of supporters like other people have, I at least want to give a shout out to our unnamed fans in the UK and Helsinki, Finland, and New York State, US, who are our top 3 listening locations week after week. We are somehow in Finland and the UK and of
That's
course New York
fantastic.
State. But week after week, that's our top three week after week, and we really thank you guys, especially if you're listening to us from across the ocean. Um,
You hadn't told
I
me
don't
about
know how.
Helsinki. That's
Yeah,
great. That's
I don't know how they
fantastic.
found us. I don't know how they found us, but it's freaking awesome that y'all are listening, and we really appreciate it.
The
So,
internet is a wonderful thing.
isn't it? Isn't it
It
though?
really is. I mean, it's a cesspool sometimes, but it's a really wonderful thing at the end of the day. The only reason that we have the opportunity to do this, I mean, before podcasts, if you wanted to get somebody to listen to this, which is essentially an independent radio show, you had to be on a station.
Yeah.
The internet allows us to do this without having to worry about all the stuff that being on the radio necessitates from you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the
Like a
freedom.
$1 million+ FTC license.
Yeah. 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 You don't need that. Turns out, if you want to start a podcast, you don't need that.
Yeah. So you just need a computer and a microphone, oddly enough, and a little bit of, back end knowledge. But I think we both
Yeah.
got that covered. So we're good. But yeah, we really appreciate all our listeners. We really appreciate everybody who is following us and interacting with us on social media. As always, our first word of all our posted videos on YouTube goes out through our Twitter feed. As soon as they're posted, there's a post on Twitter feed about it. And as always, we have a live premiere of our episode every week. As soon as it's posted, it goes into premiere mode. So it's shown live to everybody right at the same time. So you can kind of listen in if you want to live right there. It plays automatically. Or you can go, check us out segment by segment. We post those over Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And usually Tuesdays is our review shows and Wednesdays is our Call It in the Ring, because our Call It in the Ring is, of course, non-time sensitive content we just do for fun. So we're not exactly going for a specific date on that. Just to let everybody know, towards the end of the season here, we're going to be cutting our first season off right around Christmas time. We are going to take a couple weeks off, but during that time, I will be making Raw review, SmackDown review, Dynamite review, Collision review, and Call It in the Ring omnibuses, and also releasing a YouTube video like our current videos of our very first episode in Call It in the Ring. All of that will be coming on YouTube over the course of those 2 weeks while we're taking time off to be with our families for the holidays. And so you'll still have content from us. You'll be able to go and rehash all the reviews if you like certain review segments. All of our Call It in the Rings will be in one nice little video package. Plus, if you haven't had a chance to check out our first video or our first episode on any of our podcasting platforms, it will be posted in full along with segments like all the other episodes there over the course of that 2 week period. So we really do appreciate everybody sticking with us through season one. We're about halfway through now, and I'm having a great time, and we hope y'all are too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This has been so fun thus far. And I can't, I can't thank you enough, Aaron, for bugging me for like literal months.
Literal months. Yeah.
Literal months. About you should do this with me. We should do this. We should totally, we can totally do this. This is great. This is right up our alley. For literally months, almost a year, really. It's been little bit by little bit, and I am so thankful that you kept at it and didn't just set it to bed the first time I said, eh. So, because this has been a fantastic experience, and I cannot wait to see what comes in the future.
The first time I hit you up and was like, we should do a podcast, I also actually did not have time to do a podcast, but I was like, you know what? If he says yes, I'll just make time. And then right about the time where you finally gave in and was like, I have time, I actually did start having time. So it was like perfect timing. Like we both had the time and the will to do so. So
it's just serendipity.
It is. It was very serendipitous. So with that out of the way, that's our intro, and we're going to go right into our lockup, which is our Raw review for the week. Now, before I get this started, I'm just going to go a little bit over on the intro and talk about how we know that this has been going long. We know that some of you guys are new listeners, and you're like, oh my gosh, these guys are brand new, and they're doing 3 hours Coronet style. Okay, so we understand that, and we also think it's long. So what we're going to do now is shout out to Simon Miller for a little bit of the format. We're not going to call it ups and downs. We're going to figure out how we go from here. But we are going to kind of just highlight the highs and lows of the shows instead of going step by step through a review to kind of truncate these just a little bit. Now, later on, once we open up our Patreon, we will do full reviews.
Yeah.
We will have those available to our Patreon backers. However, right now, in the interest of just, kind of making sure that it's a listenable format and you can get through it without feeling like it's slog, we're going to truncate just a little bit. So
Yeah.
here we go with our lockup, our Raw review. So I'm just going to go high low points like through each section, I guess. So the start of the show, Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins are like attacking each other right off the bat. It's freaking wild. This will go on throughout the rest of the evening, so I don't have to cover it over and over again. They literally, there's like 6 segments where it's interrupted because one of them jumps into the segment and the other one attacks it, and they just keep going throughout this. But like they're attacking at the beginning. Seth goes out to the ring immediately. He's like, "You want to get crazy? Let's do this right now!" And then literally security guards are flying out of the entranceway, and here comes Bronson Reed, and they fight through security. Um, Seth gets DVD'd on the ring apron. And we big fight, and they go back. They're brawling out. Literally, first segment, probably 2 minutes in, they destroyed the announce table. And Stu Bennett was like, "This is literally the fastest this table has ever been destroyed."
They were probably going for a record.
It might have been, but yeah, it was like, I mean, immediately that thing was gone pretty much. I was like, wow, that was really quick. Like, we're supposed to sit all
Did
night.
they do the thing? Did they do the thing where they left it broken the entire episode then?
Or
did they replace it?
I'm not. I think they might have replaced it,
Oh,
but
boo.
I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look. But yeah, they definitely
They should have been brave. They should have been brave and just let them. You can call this. It's right in front of you. You don't need your monitors. Just call it.
Mm-hmm.
Be brave. This is a test.
Now, overall, start to finish, all the segments across the Bronson Reed Seth Rollins thing is really cool. We end up making a match for, I believe, Crown Jewel. Our redacted event that we're not covered too much. It's really hard not to mention it with all this stuff going on because pretty much everything on the show is pushing to that.
Yeah.
It's next week now. So, I mean, soon this will be over. I'm going to read the results so we can cover them, here on the show. But other than that, I'm just going to blow through those real quick. And that's all we're going to talk about Crown Jewel. So yeah, but otherwise, overall, from attacking each other all show long and then making a match at the end, good segments from Reed and Seth. They got really physical. It was fun. Then after that, we have a first of a couple of women's tag team division vignettes. They're recapping what happened with Lash and Jakara attacking Damage Control. They go into an interview with Damage Control. And then the New Day comes out for a match. And here we go with our first low, because guess what? The New Day entered for a match. We go to commercial. They come back and they do like literally 3 or 4 segments while the New Day's music's playing and they're just standing there in the ring.
So disrespectful. Why are they doing this?
Like they enter, we go to commercial, we come back. They're talking about how Lillian Garcia is back because Samantha's gone. Possibly to AEW. I'm not sure. Ricochet has refuted those rumors that she's going. She says, and she herself says she's going to go work on her music. I didn't know she did music. Lillian Garcia made some Spanish bangers. So, I mean, WWE actually has a good history of ring announcers going on to do good music. So, more power to Samantha. We loved you as a ring announcer. Good luck on your music.
She was awesome.
She was the best.
She was fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, I think, if I remember hearing correctly, I think she sang the national anthem for, I don't know if it was a football game or a baseball game recently or whatever. I'm wondering if somebody was in the crowd who was a record producer, was really impressed and offered her a contract.
But it's not entirely outside the realm of possibility. Yeah, it's possible. So,
especially if it was like a World Series or playoffs game right now. I mean, that there's, those tickets are not cheap. The people who go to those games, a very high percentage of them are people who are connected.
Right.
So wouldn't surprise me at all.
So, so the New Day entered for the tag match. They welcome back Lillian Garcia. There's a recap of Braun and Jey Uso because they have an IC title rematch later tonight. And then they show some guys in the crowd, like some famous guys. I can't remember who they were, but they show some famous people in the crowd. So it's like three 45-minute to 1 minute long, or 45-second to 1 minute long segments between the commercial end and New Day just standing there in the ring that whole time with their music playing. Um, Lillian Garcia is obviously back, so she's introducing this match, which is part of the, I guess, the tag team tournament. So she's introducing this. They just said, "Oh, legendary ring announcer, she's back with us full time." She starts introducing the tag team tournament and Botchamania moments it immediately. Yeah, just like her first line completely botched it. She picked it up throughout the night, but there was a couple of times that she botched.
Ring rust is a thing, even
Ring
for
rust
announcers.
is a thing, even for announcers. We still like having Lily Garcia back. That was the
she's
WWE voice
lovely.
of my childhood, and she's lovely. So
she's. I mean, you hear nothing but glowing things about her as a person. She seems like she really avoided a lot of the negative stuff that wrestling can kind of bring to a performer. And make no mistake, a ring announcer is a performer. So, good for her. good for, honestly, good for this generation. Because if you're going to take away possibly, arguably, the best ring announcer that WWE's ever had, or at least the one with the most personality,
yeah, I'd say
you could
definitely
certainly do worse than a beloved figure who is used to doing it and is familiar with the product. You know, you could certainly do worse than Lillian.
Yeah, certainly. We could have Joel Gertner.
I mean,
I like Gertner, but he's not as good as Lillian. I'm sorry.
Well, okay. I mean, his style would need to be toned down.
I don't think that's possible for him. I don't think he would do that. So he'd get one night and then
he would get fired.
Another thing I want to talk about real quick that I hate about Raw, and I can't get beyond this, and I know I'm not the only person. I'm pretty sure this is a cold as fuck take because everybody has the same exact opinion that I have that I've talked to so far. They have got to stop editing out, like hitting the curse button when the crowd is chanting. The crowd chants holy shit and they hit the curse button. What they don't understand is that when they hit the curse button, it's not just killing the crowd, it's killing the match sounds, it's killing the commentators. It's like holy.
It's because you can't isolate it.
No, you can't.
It's part of the entire audio.
Yeah.
So everybody's getting censored at that point.
It's so annoying. I know everybody hates it. I want y'all to know I'm with you as far as the wrestling media.
I don't think that's going to be a problem when they go to Netflix, though.
I hope no. I don't.
They're going to let everything fly.
I think there's going to be lots of effing and jeffing going on as soon as they hit Netflix, for sure. I mean, Daniel Bryan is saying the F word on TBS, which I don't know if they actually beep that when they're on TBS, but I get the Fight TV feed.
Like usually they don't censor that.
And they don't. No, I don't. I also don't do picture in picture, so I get to hear the commentary that goes on during picture in picture, which is always very interesting because they always crack jokes on each other and stuff.
Yeah, it's like revisiting Dark and Elevation. Where they would just do whatever and just have fun.
Now,
it's a very different atmosphere.
When we do the Dynamite review, we have to talk about Nigel breaking character because he was too mean to Tony. Anyway.
Yeah.
So it's AOP versus New Day. The Final Testament's out there. Miz shows up and he's wearing like black suit, black sunglasses, like he's very fitting of the AOP Final Testament vibe, but he still looks like the Miz. So he's kind of doing what they're doing, but he's not doing the leather and all that. He's wearing what he would wear, but it very much fit their vibe.
Wear the leather.
Yeah. But he very much fit their vibe. And then it, cuts a commercial comeback. He's standing next to he's talking to Carrie and Scarlett. Like he's obviously just kind of joining up with them. Then Truth shows up. He starts beating on everybody. With his distraction, New Day's able to roll up AOP and they get the pin. Then Truth gets beat up afterwards, and Kofi wants to help him, but Xavier basically drags him to the back and doesn't let him help. So I thought this Xavier Woods being a dickhead thing might be over, but it's not. However, what I want to say is get on with it the fuck already. It's y'all have literally it's been stagnating at this will he won't he point where it could have been any time now, and it's been weeks. It's too much. Like I like the story. I want to see the turn. I always like seeing longtime tag teams fight each other because they know each other so well. It's always usually a really good match, Usos aside. But I just with those two guys, I know it'll be a great match, but I just the storyline is getting to be too much. There's a lot of other stuff going on. Please pull the trigger on this so we can kind of clear a little space and have some breathing room.
I read some interesting speculation saying that maybe they're holding out until the anniversary of the 10-year anniversary of the New Day, and that's when Big E will come back and mend fences and put them back together, or they go the other way with it and Xavier cements his heel turn by attacking Big E. So I think if you feel like it's being stretched out, I'm wondering if that's what they're waiting for.
Maybe
for that moment.
That would be a good reason, and I could hold out for that, I think. But otherwise, like if that's not the plan, guys, come on. Like if Big E's really not coming back ever, and we can't even do like an attack spot with him or anything like that, let's just go ahead and get this over with because I want Big E back. It's not the same. I mean, I love those.
I mean, even if you can't take a bump, you can still take a shot to the balls.
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
You know.
So anyway, Paul, Final Testament's beaten on Truth. Kofi gets dragged to the back by Xavier, but then the lights go dark and the Wyatt Six music hits, and they show up and they start beating up the Final Testament. And Uncle Howdy pops up and Ellering intercepts him from going after Karrion Kross, and Ellering gets a mandible claw for his trouble. So two big old ups right there, or actually probably three big old ups right there that I really liked. Okay, let's start with I love the Wyatt Six. I like that they're spooky, but they're not supernatural. I dig it. Okay, like yeah, they do weird stuff, but they're just weird. They're like Saw type of weird. They're not, paranormal activity weird. So I'm digging it. Another one, they looks like they're going to feed Final Testament to the Wyatt Six. I'm all okay with that. I don't, even with the Miz, I'm not a big Final Testament fan. It feels like,
honestly, I think Karrion Kross is so boring.
I do too.
I think so boring. The best thing that he does is his Jesse Ventura impression, which is spot on. For the record, it's uncanny. But he's just boring. I don't know why they put the NXT title on him and had him his finisher was a side suplex. Like he just this was the guy. This was the guy that you pushed. Like I don't see it. I mean, he's a student of the game. He comes if I saw the Chris Van Vliet interview, and he comes off as a very knowledgeable, intelligent guy. He has a great look. I'll give him that. But in the interest of remaining positive, but I don't see it. He's not for me, I guess. No, if he is for other people, great, awesome. Enjoy what you enjoy. He's not for me.
That's another big one. I just really don't like Final Testament that much. So if they get fed to Wyatt Six, totally cool with me. And then Mandible Claw. Always cool to see a Mick Foley shout out. Love the Mandible Claw. I don't know if anybody who out there who's hearing this, it really works. So in a pinch, literally, it's one of the things in wrestling that really works. If you get your hand in somebody's mouth without getting bit, they won't be able to bite you if you get that on.
Yeah, people they always think it's just the fingers down the throat. It's not just that. You're pinching the nerve with your thumb as well. So if you do that to yourself, the natural reaction is you'll catch yourself before you really hurt yourself. But I imagine just from doing that if somebody really did that to me, it would be absolutely debilitating. Oh, yeah, and that's a shoot.
Yeah.
That's a shoot.
So then after all that's going on, we have a commercial, and then we come backstage to Adam Pearce. They're asking him how he get. It's another one of those Seth and Reed interrupt the thing fighting. So that again. Then we move to a backstage interview with Jay, ask him to address what happened last week. He says he's going to retain tonight and, yeet and all that. Then we have a Raquel video package where she's targeting Rhea Ripley in the video package. We'll see how that turns out. I don't really like Judgment Day, and I don't think adding another person is going to make it better for me. Then Damage Control makes their way to the entry for a match against Liv and Raquel. Lash and Jakara are ringside again. They interfere and the match is thrown out this time instead of it, causing somebody to win. Then Damage Control start a beat down on Lash, but then Jakara gets involved and they leave Damage Control laid out. And then Liv and Raquel come out, kind of get in their face, and then Rhea shows up. Rhea shit cans Raquel, then grabs Liv, hits her with a big knee, puts her in a prison trap until Raquel comes back, and then Rhea powders. Liv tries to take advantage, but gets a nasty headbutt off of it. Dom saves her from a riptide. It's just a lot of. It was almost a match, but it wasn't a match. I mean, there was a match, but then it wasn't a match, and then the ending stuff was almost a match all in itself too. I think it went long. Then we go backstage to another segment with Pierce. Rollins comes up yelling at him, and then Bronson interrupts by spearing him, and they start fighting again. So more of that. This is the point where he makes the match for Crown Jewel. Then we got Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee ready for a tournament match against American Made. We come back from a commercial for a War Raiders vignette, and then a recap of the most viewed Instagram reels, and then a backstage Judgment Day promo. And this is where the Carlito thing kind of starts, but then he later is when the thing happens. But after all of that, then we finally go back to the ring, and American Made finally makes their entrance. So another one of 3 minutes of them just standing there. For the live audience,
if this was only happening to one act, tag team, individual, whatever, and it kept happening to them specifically in order to build some kind of character thing, it's like, oh, I'm getting tired of the disrespect, this, that, and the other thing. I could see why they would do it, but it just comes off as disrespectful just hearing you say it. Like, to do that to so many people, like, why are you having them stand there? Just do the segments and then get them to the ring, so that it's stupid. That's stupid.
It's very stupid. I don't like it. So then we have the match. It's pretty good. Mysterio and Dragon Lee win to advance. Dragon Lee hit a frog splash that looked really good, but there wasn't a whole lot to note. And then after that, we have the Pearson Carlito segment. That I'm not going to really further elaborate on because everybody knows what the hell happened. And whoever greenlit that or whoever told Carlito, you can veer off of what we write specifically for you, because if that wasn't written, you need to fucking put a leash on that asshole.
Yeah.
You should. I mean, I'm sorry. It's 2024. There's going to be people saying I'm too sensitive. Maybe y'all aren't sensitive enough. Okay.
Yeah.
That was, if he said, man, I need to learn Japanese because they're hot and I need to be able to understand them, that would be a whole different connotation than I need to learn Chinese, which is I can't tell the difference between Asian people because I'm a racist idiot.
Even though you've worked with them.
Even though you've worked with them.
Yeah.
And in Puerto Rico. They have worked for his dad. They've worked for his dad.
I mean, it's the same. It's the same thing. Like, not all Hispanic and Latinx people are the same. Would he like it if somebody's like mistook him for a Brazilian?
Yeah, or Brazilian.
Like, oh man, I need to learn Portuguese.
Yeah, he wouldn't like that.
Come on, he wouldn't like that.
So so we go from there to an interview with Braun backstage. It's basically just a rehash of the same interview he did last week. This guy has got to up his promo game. He's starting to sound like his uncle, not his dad. Because to be fair, Rick Steiner was like Silent Bob. When he said something, it mattered because he did.
And he said, if you want some, come get some, years before Cena did.
Yes, that's true.
For the record.
And then he makes his way.
Cena's a thief.
Braun's going to the entrance for his match, but then we have a Gunther backstage interview. He'll be in Brooklyn for SmackDown to talk to Cody. Okay, cool. We go back to the ring for Jay's entrance. Bloodline shows up to distract Jay during the match. We get a brief face-off between Braun and Jacob Fatu. Holy shit, give me this match. Holy crap. Um,
Ooh.
Fatu super kicks Jay. After Solo saves Jay from a spear, Fatu super kicks him, slams him on the announce table, gives Braun the advantage. Braun hits the spear. He wins the IC title back. I don't know why they took it off Jay so quickly. Braun celebrates as the show ends. This is a down for me. Why did you give Jey Uso a title that's been held for 667 days previous to his reign and then just give it back to the other guy 2 weeks later? It was dumb. I didn't like that at all. But Raw overall, very good. Please work on y'all's formatting. Please do entrances after segments, after the commercial. I don't know what else I can say about that. I cannot say over, like, I'm trying, in the interest of trying to remain positive, I cannot keep saying how much this specific formatting issue where you have the guys in front of the live crowd standing there for minutes at a time while you do other shit is disrespectful to your crowd, disrespectful to the wrestlers you're making stand there, especially when one of them is a Hall of Famer named Rey fucking Mysterio. You like
Not
it's
only
almost
that, but you're also, by forcing them to be there doing nothing in the ring, you're endangering them because they're getting cold.
yeah.
Like they're already stretched out. They're not doing their stretches in the ring. They're not doing their workouts in the ring. They're already ready to go. They're already loose and limber, and now you're cooling them off for no
Yeah.
reason. You are just inviting more injuries.
Yeah. So yeah, I just don't like this formatting. I don't like the way they're doing it. I really wish they'd fix it. Other than that, though, Raw gets a pretty good up. The course of the show, while it was all kind of jumbled and very fast paced, because they're really trying to build. They're really trying to give everything time to build to this crown jewel thing. It was really good. So yeah, overall, Raw was a positive. It's just the formatting that I really don't like. And the Carlito thing, which I'm not going to further expound on because my gosh. But yeah, other than
Yeah, if
that,
you
that
don't
was
know what's wrong with that, I don't know what else to tell you.
no, I don't. But that was
Right.
our Raw review for the week, and I think we're gonna get into